In 1944, a man received two medals. The first came from Adolf Hitler. The Iron Cross, Germany's highest military honor, awarded for his outstanding service to the Third Reich. The second came from King George VI, the member of the Order of the British Empire, awarded for his outstanding service to the Allied cause. The same man, the same war. Both sides believed he was working for them. Only one of them was right. His name was Juan Pujol García. He was a chicken farmer from Barcelona with no military training, no intelligence background, and no official affiliation with any government on Earth when he decided, alone, to deceive the most sophisticated intelligence apparatus in the history of modern warfare. He nearly failed before he started, and then he helped win the war. To understand what Juan Pujol did, you have to understand what he had already survived. He was born in Barcelona in 1912. By the time he was 24, his country was tearing itself apart. The Spanish Civil War killed 500,000 people and left a landscape of ideological wreckage. Fascism on one side, Stalinist communism on the other, and ordinary people crushed between them. Pujol fought briefly on both sides, drafted first by the Republicans, then captured and forced to serve the nationalists. He watched both factions commit atrocities. He came out of the war with a fixed conviction: totalitarianism, in any form, was the enemy of humanity. When the Second World War began and Nazi Germany started absorbing Europe, Pujol did not wait to be told what to do. He decided he would do something himself. He had no training, no contacts, no government backing. He had something else, an extraordinary imagination, a precise understanding of what people want to believe, and an almost reckless confidence in his own ability to lie. In 1941, Pujol walked into the British consulate in Madrid and offered to spy for Britain. They said no. He walked into the German consulate and offered to spy for Germany. They said yes, and gave him the code name Arabelle. Here is the detail that should stop you cold. Pujol had absolutely no intention of working for Germany. His plan, formed entirely on his own, with no handlers, no backup, and no guarantee of survival, was to become a German spy in name only, to invent intelligence, to feed the Nazis false information and use their own espionage infrastructure against them. He was not recruited by the British. He was not running an operation sanctioned by anyone. He was a chicken farmer who had decided, on his own moral authority, to go to war against the Third Reich. The Germans gave him money. They gave him a code name. They gave him a mission: travel to Britain, recruit agents, and report back on military movements. Pujol told them he was in Britain. He was in Lisbon. He had never been to England. He had a travel guide, a map of the London Underground, a British railway timetable, and a guide to the Royal Navy that he'd purchased from a local bookshop. He began writing his reports. Over the next several months, Pujol invented an entire spy network from thin air. He gave his fictional agents names, personalities, families, grudges. He invented a Welsh nationalist contact who was furious with the British government. He invented a Portuguese businessman traveling between Lisbon and London. He invented a field officer stationed somewhere in England, filing detailed reports on troop movements that Pujol had extrapolated entirely from publicly available sources. The Germans believed every word. He invented a sub-agent who died of fever. He submitted a mourning letter. The Germans sent a condolence payment to the man's entirely fictional widow. He made errors, deliberate and accidental, that somehow made the network more convincing. Real intelligence operations are messy. Pujol's mistakes read like authenticity. By the time the British intelligence service MI5 finally agreed to take him on in 1942, after intercepting German traffic that referenced an active and apparently productive network inside Britain, they were astonished to discover the network had one member, Juan Pujol, in Lisbon. His MI5 handler gave him a new code name, Garbo. named after Greta Garbo, because they said he was the greatest actor in the world. Pujol moved to London in 1942. He was given a handler, a salary, a radio operator, and the full resources of British intelligence. The fictional network expanded to 27 sub-agents. Not one of them existed. The scale of the deception is genuinely difficult to process. Pujol and his MI5 handler Tommy Harris sent over 300 messages to German intelligence during the course of the war. They managed the timing of each message, the details of each fictional source, the internal consistency of an entirely invented world, all while keeping the Germans engaged, trusting, and spending resources on a network that existed only in one man's mind and in carefully typed dispatches. The Germans paid Pujol the equivalent of millions of dollars over the course of the war. He spent it, at Allied direction, on maintaining the fiction. By 1944, the Allied High Command was planning the largest amphibious invasion in history. And they had a problem. If German forces were concentrated at Normandy when the invasion landed, the losses would be catastrophic. The Allies needed the Germans to believe the real attack was coming somewhere else, a place called Pas de Calais, directly across the Channel's narrowest point. The operation to create this belief was called Fortitude. It involved fake armies, fake radio traffic, and an elaborate fabric of deception. At the center of it was Pujol. On the night of June 5, 1944, hours before the first troops landed, Pujol's team attempted to radio a warning to German intelligence, a message that would appear to be a last-minute leak from a trusted agent. The Germans did not respond in time to receive it. Pujol logged the attempted contact. When German intelligence reviewed the records after the landings began, they found the proof that Garbo had tried to warn them and failed to get through. It made him more trusted, not less. Then, on June 9th, 3 days after the landings, Pujol sent the most important message of the war. He told German High Command that Normandy was a feint, that the real invasion was still coming at Pas de Calais, that they must hold their forces there. Hitler personally intervened to hold 2 panzer divisions back from Normandy. Those divisions never came. Military historians have argued ever since about the precise counterfactual. What would have happened if those armored divisions had reached the beaches in the critical first days? The consensus is careful and cautious, but the men who were there were not cautious. General Dwight Eisenhower later said that without the success of the deception operations, the landings might have failed. Pujol's message was at the heart of those operations. 2 months after D-Day, Juan Pujol received the Iron Cross from Germany, forwarded through his handlers, who maintained the fiction to the end. The Germans believed Garbo was their most effective agent in Britain. He was. He was also the reason their entire intelligence picture of Britain was fabricated. Shortly after, he received the MBE from the British Crown. When the war ended, Pujol faced a problem that had not occurred to him when he began. The Germans thought he was their man. If they ever discovered the truth, they would kill him. MI5 helped him fake his own death. He was declared dead from malaria in Angola in 1949. He moved to Venezuela. He opened a bookshop. He lived there quietly for decades. Almost no one knew his name. In 1984, a British intelligence historian tracked him down in Venezuela. Juan Pujol came out of hiding. He traveled to Normandy for the 40th anniversary of D-Day. He stood among the graves. He was 82 years old, and most of the people walking past him had no idea who he was. He died in 1988. There is something worth sitting with, about a man who asked nothing, no recognition, no rank, no salary at the start, who simply decided that fascism was wrong and that he personally was going to do something about it. He had no authority to grant himself that mission. He gave it to himself anyway. He invented 27 people and made them real enough to fool an empire. He typed dispatches in a small room and held 2 panzer divisions at Pas de Calais. He earned the gratitude of both sides, and then he vanished into a bookshop in Venezuela, and the world nearly forgot him entirely. His name was Juan Pujol García. In our next episode, a woman boarded a train in occupied France, carrying something the Nazis would have killed her for on the spot. She had done it dozens of times before. This time, they were waiting.